So, you've met your shadow. You understand it's not an enemy, but a hidden part of you, holding a hidden power. The next question is the one that echoes with both hope and fear. Now what? How do you actually work with this powerful, unconscious energy without letting it take over? When I first heard about shadow work, I was terrified. It sounded like opening Pandora's box. I didn't know where to start, and I was afraid of what I might find. The biggest mistake people make is trying too hard. They try to dig up their trauma or force a confrontation with their demons. This is dangerous and ineffective. The true path to integrating your shadow isn't a battle. It's a slow, gentle courtship. It is more like befriending a wild animal than slaying a dragon. In this journey together, we will move beyond theory and into practice. I will share with you the exact, gentle, 3-step framework that made this process feel safe and manageable for me. This is the art of psychological alchemy. We will explore a simple process to notice your triggers, dialogue with your shadow, and integrate its wisdom. This is how you stop being a victim of your unconscious patterns and start becoming a conscious alchemist, learning how to turn the lead of your shadow into the gold of your integrated self. The work is quieter than you think, and the rewards are greater than you can imagine.
Before we take the first step on this path, we must establish the golden rule. The rule of safety and compassion. Let me be very clear. This is not an excavation of trauma. If you have deep trauma, the guidance of a professional therapist is essential. This work we do here is an exploration of personality. It is the art of getting to know all the characters on your inner stage. Your only goal is curiosity, not judgment. Your mindset should be that of a compassionate archaeologist, gently brushing the dust off a forgotten artifact, not a harsh judge looking for someone to blame. There is no failing at shadow work. There is only the courage to look. The intention is simple. We are here to reclaim, not to relive. We are looking for the energy and the wisdom trapped in the shadow, not to get lost in the old stories. With that foundation of safety, we can begin. The entire journey of shadow work can be distilled into a simple 3-step dance. Notice, dialogue, and integrate. And it always begins with the first, most gentle step. Step 1. Notice. This is the art of becoming a detective of your own inner world. The motto is simple. The trigger is the trail. Your emotional triggers, those moments of disproportionate anger, irritation, or judgment, are not your enemy. They are a perfectly designed compass, pointing you directly to a projection from your shadow. Let's make this practical. The primary practice for this step is what I call the mirror. You use your reactions to the outer world as a mirror to see your inner world. When you feel a strong emotional reaction to someone, whether it's positive or negative, a flash of intense irritation or a surge of obsessive admiration, pause. That is the red flag. That is the beginning of the trail. Let's think of Chloe, our 45-year-old nurse. She works on a busy hospital floor. There's another nurse on her shift, Brenda. She takes all her breaks. She leaves exactly when her shift ends. She says no to overtime. And Chloe is constantly, intensely irritated by her. In her mind, she labels Brenda as lazy, selfish, not a team Claire. This is more than just a passing thought. It's a charge, a hot flush of irritation that tightens her jaw. For years, Chloe believed this was a righteous judgment about Brenda's work ethic. But Chloe is beginning to practice shadow work. So she takes this trigger to her journal. She uses the mirror journaling prompt. The question is this: what is the quality in this person that is triggering me so strongly? For Chloe, the answer is clear. Brenda's ability to rest, her ability to put herself first, her boundaries. The second part of the prompt is the courageous one. Where might a tiny, unacknowledged seed of that same quality exist in me as a deep, unmet need? This is not about accusing yourself of the same behavior. Chloe is not lazy. This is about recognizing a universal human need that you have exiled into your shadow. As Chloe sat with that question, the truth hit her with the force of a physical blow. She wasn't angry at Brenda. She was envious of Brenda. She was envious of Brenda's freedom, the freedom to rest, the freedom to say no, the freedom to have boundaries, were all qualities that Chloe, the tireless caregiver, had exiled into her shadow as selfish. Her irritation was not about Brenda at all. It was the desperate cry of her own exhausted body and soul, begging for the very same rest she was judging in her colleague. That trigger was her own soul's compass, pointing directly to the gold of self-compassion. This is the work of step 1. It is the act of noticing, of seeing your triggers not as annoyances, but as messengers, as invitations. You are simply gathering the clues. You are marking the X on your inner treasure map. Let's practice this first gentle step together. Think of one trigger word that has come up for you this week, a quality in someone else that caused a spark of irritation or judgment. In the comments, share that one word, without the story, without the judgment, just the word. Arrogance, loudness, incompetence. Let's create a safe space to simply acknowledge the trail. This is where the power begins to shift. You are no longer a victim of your reactions. You are becoming a conscious observer of your own psyche. You have noticed the trail. You have found the locked door. But how do you speak to a part of yourself that has no voice? How do you turn the key? That is the art of step 2.
You have noticed the trail. You have found the locked door. But how do you speak to a part of yourself that has no voice? How do you turn the key? This brings us to step 2, dialogue. This is the heart of the practice. It is the art of giving your shadow a voice, but not the driver's seat. It is the act of externalizing the shadow aspect so that you can finally understand its needs, its fears, and its hidden wisdom. This is not about being possessed by your anger. It is about having a conscious, respectful conversation with the part of you that holds the anger. There are many ways to do this, but the most accessible and powerful is through journaling. We're going to use a simplified version of a technique called the empty chair. You're going to invite a part of your shadow to sit in a metaphorical empty chair across from you, and you are going to interview it. First, you must give it a name, personify it. Let's take the trigger word we discussed. If your trigger is arrogance, you can call this part my inner king or my arrogant self. If your trigger is laziness, you can call it my inner sloth or the part that just wants to rest. Giving it a name immediately creates a bit of distance. It is a character. It is not all of you. Let me tell you about Michael, a 42-year-old software engineer. His trigger was incompetence. He was a brilliant coder, but he was a harsh manager, constantly frustrated by the mistakes of his junior colleagues. He decided to have a dialogue with his trigger. He called it his inner perfectionist. In his journal, he began the dialogue. You can even use a different pen color or a different font on your computer to represent the two voices. Your conscious self, the interviewer, should be asking gentle, curious questions. Your shadow part should be allowed to answer uncensored. Michael wrote, "Me. Hello, I'm here to listen. Who are you?" He switched pens. "Inner perfectionist. I am the one who keeps you safe. I am the one who ensures you are never, ever seen as a failure." Me. "Why are you so angry at the junior developers? They are still learning." Inner perfectionist. "Because their mistakes reflect on us. Their sloppiness makes us look bad. We cannot tolerate mediocrity. It is dangerous." This is the key. The interviewer must then ask the compassionate question. Me. "What are you so afraid of? What do you think will happen if we tolerate a little mediocrity?" Inner perfectionist. The handwriting for this part became almost childlike. "They will find out. They will see that you are not as smart as you pretend to be. You will be exposed. You will be rejected. You will be nothing." In that moment, Michael's world shifted. His inner perfectionist was not a monster. It was a terrified child, still living in the memory of being shamed by a teacher for a small mistake in front of the whole class. His anger at his colleagues was not about them. It was a desperate, misguided attempt to protect that wounded child from ever feeling that shame again. He did not need to fight his perfectionism. He needed to heal the child who was driving it. This is the power of the dialogue. You ask it 4 key questions. Write these down. 1. What do you want? This reveals its goal. 2. What do you need? This often reveals a deeper, unmet need for safety or validation. 3. What are you afraid of? This reveals its core wound. And 4. What wisdom or gift do you hold for me? This begins the process of finding the gold. Pause here a moment. Think about your own trigger character, my inner critic, my angry self. If you could ask it just one of those questions right now, which one would it be? What do you most need to understand about this exiled part of you? Share your question in the comments. Let's create a space of collective, compassionate inquiry. It is crucial to set a boundary during this practice. You are here to listen and to understand this part's perspective. You are not here to obey its commands. The inner perfectionist might demand that Michael fire his colleagues. Michael's conscious adult self can hear that fear and then make a wiser, more compassionate choice. He can choose to mentor his colleagues instead of criticizing them. He's building a bridge between his conscious self and his shadow. He is becoming the leader of his own inner kingdom. This is the alchemy. You have noticed the lead of the trigger. You have heated it with the fire of compassionate dialogue to understand its true nature. Now, how do we complete the transformation? How do we extract the gold? That is the final, beautiful step of integration. You have noticed the trigger. You have heard the voice from the basement. You have listened with compassion to its fear and to its needs. But the dialogue is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of the final, most beautiful step. Step 3. Integrate. This is the alchemy. This is where the real power is reclaimed. Integration does not mean acting out the shadow's raw demands. It does not mean becoming the rageful, fearful, or perfectionistic part of you. That is not integration. That is possession. Integration is the art of finding the golden, life-affirming essence of the shadow's energy and finding a conscious, healthy, and adult way to bring that energy into your life. The central question of this step is the alchemist's question. You ask yourself, What is the golden gift this part of me is trying to offer? Let's go back to Michael, the software engineer, and his inner perfectionist. The raw, leaden energy of that part was harsh criticism, a fear of failure. But what was its golden essence? The gift it was trying to offer. It was the gift of high standards, of excellence, of a desire to create something truly great. So Michael began the work of integration. He made a conscious choice. Instead of using that energy to criticize his junior colleagues, he began to use it to mentor them. He started a weekly code review session, not to find fault, but to teach the art of elegant design. He was still using the same energy of high standards, but he was now wielding it consciously, as a wise adult, not being wielded by it as a scared child. The lead of criticism was being transformed into the gold of mentorship. He told me that for the first time in years, the tension in his shoulders began to release. He was no longer at war. Let's think of Chloe, the nurse, and her irritation at her lazy colleague, Brenda. The raw, leaden energy was judgment, resentment, envy. But what was its golden essence? The gift her shadow was screaming for. The gift of rest, of self-compassion, of honoring her own human limits. So Chloe began her own small act of integration. It was terrifying for her. One day during a busy shift, instead of skipping her break, she walked to the break room, she sat down, and for 15 minutes she did nothing. She just drank a cup of tea and looked out the window. Her inner critic screamed at her, "You are being selfish, your team needs you." But she had already had a dialogue with that voice. She knew it was just a scared part of her. So she gently said to it, "It's okay. We are allowed to rest. We will be a better nurse for it." That small act, that 15-minute rebellion, was a revolution. It was the lead of resentment beginning its transformation into the gold of self-care. This is the process. You find the life-affirming core of the shadow energy. The shadow of people-pleasing is integrated into the gold of genuine, chosen kindness without self-abandonment. The shadow of control is integrated into the gold of healthy leadership and the ability to create order from chaos. The shadow of fear is integrated into the gold of prudence, of intuition, of the wisdom to know when to pause. This is not a one-time fix. It is a lifelong practice, a dance, a constant balancing act of listening to the raw energy from within and consciously choosing how to express it in the world. Pause for a moment. Think about the gold hidden in your own darkness. What is the one golden quality, the one life-affirming energy that you are most hungry to reclaim from your shadow? Is it your creativity, your courage, your passion, your peace? Name that gold in the comments below. Let's declare the treasure we are seeking. This is the true meaning of wholeness. It is not about getting rid of the parts of you that you don't like. It is about realizing that those very parts hold the keys to the life you were longing to live. Every time you complete this three-step cycle, notice, dialogue, integrate, you reclaim a piece of your own power. You bring an exiled part of your soul back home. You become a little less fragmented and a little more whole. You become the wise and compassionate leader of your own inner kingdom. And that is the only foundation upon which a truly authentic life can be built.
So we arrive at the beginning of a new relationship. A relationship with the totality of who you are. The dance of shadow work, the alchemy of notice, dialogue, and integrate, is not a project with a finish line. It is a lifelong practice, a new way of walking through the world. The goal is not to eliminate your shadow. That is impossible. The goal is to build a conscious, respectful, and creative relationship with it. Every time you complete this three-step cycle, you reclaim a piece of your own lost power. You bring an exiled part of your soul back into the kingdom. You become a little more whole, a little more free. This is the ultimate act of taking back your power. You are no longer a victim of your triggers, your moods, your unconscious patterns. You are becoming the alchemist of your own soul. You are learning that every piece of lead, every moment of irritation, envy, or fear is not a problem to be solved, but a sacred opportunity. An opportunity to find more gold. An opportunity to become more of who you truly are. This is a quiet internal revolution. It is the end of the war against yourself. It is the beginning of a life lived from a place of deep, unshakable self-acceptance. You are not perfect. You are never meant to be. You are something far more beautiful. You are whole. So, as we close this practical guide, I invite you to a small act of alchemical commitment. This week, just this week, choose one small trigger. Not the biggest, scariest dragon in your basement. Just one small spark of irritation. One flicker of judgment. And gently, patiently, take it through the 3 steps. Notice it without judgment. Have a short, curious dialogue with it in a journal, and ask yourself, what is the golden gift this part of me is trying to offer? But as you begin this inner dialogue, you will notice that certain characters, certain figures, appear again and again. There are powerful archetypal energies that live within all of us, and the most profound, mysterious, and often most challenging of these figures are the ones that secretly direct our entire love lives. The ghost in our relationships. And in our next journey together, we will pull back the curtain on this mystery. We will explore one of Jung's most practical and life-altering concepts, the anima and the animus, the inner counterparts that we spend our lives searching for in others when they have been waiting for us within all along. But for now, the alchemy begins with you. One trigger, one moment of noticing, one conscious choice to find the gold in the darkness.